For this page, I'm going to use a junk envelope that I saved out of the mail. I took all this stuff together. I'm going to lay it aside for right now. I made a note for myself on what I wanted to do. I've seen several junk journals alter their envelopes using masking tape, and I rummaged around and found some old, really old, and I'm going to try to use this to alter it. So what I've done here where this window is, I took a scrap of the paper from the collection with the roses and cut it to fit. It goes in there. Of course, you could put a real photo in there if you wanted to, but for now I've got that. So I want to cover all of this, and I'm probably going to cut this down, but let's cover the whole thing. So I'm going to move my book out of the way. You should see everything on the side here. It's crazy. So the idea is to alter this with masking tape and then ink some on it, so that to make it look old. Okay, so this is the first time I've done this. Is that going to show through that writing? Yeah, that writing is going to show through. Let me erase my notes. Wrote down there what I wanted to add to it. Add some lace and the stamps. I've got all that paper clipped over here on the side. So I'm erasing my notes off this envelope. And then I'm going to take a piece of tape and lay it over it. That one wasn't quite long enough, but that's okay. I'm just going to tear this off. This on there. I'm going to fold it around. I don't want it to go over the flap though, so make sure you're not going over, and if it gets a wrinkle in it, that's okay. I think that'd be fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed up the camera while I do this. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing with masking tape, and I'm going to take a small bit and fix this right here where I cut it too short, like that. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then we'll come back later and finish it all up, and I will show you doing that part there as well. Okay, so we got it covered. You don't have to cover this part here because that's going to be attached down. Might need a little piece right there, still white. Okay, so this is masking tape on it. Okay, now I'm going to ink it, but first I'm going to cut this with my trimmer so I can get two pockets out of it. So I'm going to cut like about right here. Okay, so there is a pocket, and then this flap will be a pocket. I need to put paper on inside here, kind of finish it up with something, and probably right in there where you can see the paper just backing here, but we'll see. Okay, so now the inking, don't know. We'll see how this does with the brush. I'm going to ink the edge first. Now I do believe you have to let it dry because it's not like regular paper. It is not going to just like take it, and it may not be very dark either. So I'm just inking the edges a little bit over where it's kind of pieced together. Now this is probably maybe junkier than what you want. You know, different people want different things from a junk journal. If you don't like this masking tape thing, well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that on yours. You could cut a piece of paper to cover that also, or maybe use washi tape. Might work. We'd have to use some glue to make sure it sticks, but you could line a wide washi tape or something around it. It's just kind of, now in here where the edge is, I'm going to see if I can kind of do the edge and then wipe off the clear. Kind of want it inked along the frame edge. And then wipe off any ink that might get on that. I don't know, it looks pretty interesting. Yes, I could have just inked the envelope, but this gives it some grungy details here you might not get that way. I'm just going to trim this off where it's kind of loose. And then I'm going to ink this side here. I'm going to wait on the pattern paper on the inside till I put it on the page, I think. Now then, I'm thinking maybe you can do some stamping on this. So we don't need to worry about that. We're going to get this back side here. What I was meaning, I don't have to worry about that. That's where it's going to glue into the page. This is sort of a kind of a mixed media edition with a lot of inking and altering of something. Okay, there's that. That's pretty cool looking. Kind of like that. So I'm going to do this one too. Now this one don't have a window, of course, so it's going to look different. But I'm going to ink this one also. That will get in. Okay, so now let's see where we're going to put this. So I took one of the pattern papers and I cut it to fit in here. And I fixed it so that it's going to be attached, but I can still slide this other piece that I had in there. Whatever I did with it. I've lost it. Okay, so I've got it pieced like this. I had me a rose that was going in there, not this one. What did I do with that? Okay, I'll find it. So anyway, I put pattern paper in here so that when we look inside, we see this print when the picture's in here. And then this little edge here, I put a piece here, and I'm going to put some masking tape right there. And I'm going to look around for my image that I cut to go in there. I'm using masking tape because it's easier to conform around that frame there, I think. And I can just ink that. There. I just didn't want to, you could leave that, the print that's the natural print of the envelope in there if you wanted to. I just decided I didn't want that in there. A little bit more on the end. And again, remember this flap's going to be glued down. Okay, so now I'm going to ink that, so that when you look down in there, it looks the same. Okay? Okay, let me pause a minute and see if I can find my image that I have for that. Okay, I found it, but not sure if I'm going to use it. Now the part that I cut off, I've decided to glue back on because the envelope initially I thought was too long for my page. I want a long envelope, but I want it shorter in the page. So by cutting it, I have made it into a pocket on the outside, and I'm going to rejoin it here on the back side. So I have put it just below where the frame is, like that. No glue there. I'm going to flip it over this way, and then I'm going to glue this back together right here. Make sure it stays straight. Attach that down, get the glue in here, and glue this back side together right there. So we'll be adding some stuff on there. Now then, this is going to attach down in the page. So I have this piece here where we can see, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the page and see what all I want to do to it. So bring back my page. So this is going to attach on the edge here, like this. Okay, just onto that piece there. Now they didn't line up quite right here because it was a different portion of the envelope. So I'm just going to press it down and trim a little bit off. Okay, so now on this page here, I'm going to lay this here, and this is going to attach. So it's about the height of the page. So glue goes on the envelope flap right there. We're going to attach it down. Let me attach this one down. Push it down like that. Okay, so that's the back side of the page. There's my bone folder. There it is. I'm going to burnish it down, make sure it's stuck good. And I'm going to bring this over. So there is our envelope with the window right there. And so now we have a pocket here that we can put things in if we want. I think, can I get my notch punch in there? If I can, I'm going to do a notch right there. Okay, just got me a little notch there, a little bit of ink. Okay, now then, inside of this, I did find that piece. Whoop, no, not it. I did find the piece that was originally in there, if I still want it. This one's still pretty in there. And then when I flip this over, this piece down here needs paper. So I just may use that. After all this trying to find it, I may just go ahead and put it in there to finish this underneath portion here. So this is a pocket here as well as here. So you can put stuff in here if you want. That's where our picture goes though. And I think, yeah, I'm just going to, I'm playing with it. Sorry guys, sorry about that. So the picture goes in here. I want it to stay. Okay, now where's my picture? So I took one like this. Now I put, and all the pictures I'm using is in the junk journal, if I haven't said it before, are actual family members from my heritage photos that I have. I made copies of them. These are not the original photos, of course. I made copies and then, you know, printed them on a copy machine and then glued them to some of that parchment paper to give them, to make them more strong, thicker, and make them look more like real photos. So, what do I want to do? Do I want the frame around it or not? Just trying to decide before I glue anything down. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. So, I'm going to glue this photo. See there on the back, it's the parchment paper. I'm going to glue it down to this rose here, like this. And then this is going to go into the envelope here. It doesn't have to be in perfectly. Just to kind of just show them in there in the pocket. Then if they're up high like that, then I can stick things, tags and things that I will make into the, like in this. This is something that I printed up. I think it's a census sheet, but I like the journaling thing. This is something I had in my family stuff, and I'm just going to kind of ink it up a little bit. I'm going to put it in the pocket for now. I'm going to fold it up, put it in that pocket. So you can make copies of family records or, you know, census sheets, report cards, tickets. If you don't want to put the originals in your book, you just want like the looks of it. Ink the folded part too. Fold it up. Let's just tuck it in that pocket right there. And we'll find some other things that we're going to put in there. I do need to add some paper in here if I want to keep it from not being, that you can see that it's unfinished. So I'll play with that off camera. Let's see here. I had a butterfly. Yeah, the big butterfly. I loved how that turned out. So I may put that there. We need some lace trim. What have I got in my bowl here? I've got some down here beside me. Like that. Hang on a second. Hang on just a second. Okay, so I took this scrap of paper with the little bit of lettering on it, toward the top and the bottom edge, and then inked it, and I'm going to glue it right there. But on top of that, I'm going to add a piece of this masking tape, just like that, right in the center, and I'm going to ink on it, make it kind of match up what we have underneath. Do it down here on my table where I can get to it. There we go. Give me a little more ink on there. There we go. Kind of along the edge of it. Okay. Now then, I am going to glue that on top of this pocket here. Now, I had the big butterfly. I don't know if I'm still going to use the big butterfly or not, but we'll see. So that goes right there. And then I have that I cut out of the ephemera, Petals and Letters. I'm going to glue on top. Like right there. Now I thought maybe of putting a little bit of lace underneath. A little piece of lace maybe. So I should have, let me peel the tape up a little bit. It's a good thing about the tape, you can peel it up a little bit. See how that looks. Okay, so I'll have to glue that on. So I'm going to glue that in and kind of push that lace in. Like that. And then I'm going to glue this down. Kind of push that under there and glue it. Then let's see here, we have maybe a button I could put on there or something. I'm going to put a lot of glue on there. I want it really sticking down there. There we go. Okay, and I need a button. I know I have some here somewhere. Glue a button right there. Kind of finish this all off a little bit. Okay, so I've got a button there, the lace, the petals and letters. I have a couple of rows. I fussy cut these out of one of the tags. I took a second tag like this. I'm going to use this other part on something else. So I was like thinking about putting a couple of flower roses like that. So I'm going to put this one down first. These were together and I cut them apart. Put that one right there onto the envelope. And then this one's gonna go in right on top, kind of overlapping to bring all that together like that. So that's kind of pretty like that. I've got this in here. I need some tags. I need to make tags. As far as tags go, let me cut this one down. Let me do some trimming here. No, don't like that one. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see. Now I have this tab here. I'm going to put ink on this tab. I did cut out of the second sheet of the ephemera. And I'm going to glue this to the envelope edge right about there. So that way you can tell that it needs to flip up. So I'll put glue on both sides. Let me get that one, bring it up and attach it down right there. Okay, So like that. So I like how that's looking. I haven't decided what I'm going to do on the inside here yet. I'm thinking about putting a piece of paper over that and kind of making that closed off because I like this in here like this. So I think I may do that. I'm going to let this all dry for a bit. And then I'll decide what to do on the inside here. Okay, so I have these Spellbinder butterflies that I purchased several months ago from Country Craft Creations. I don't think they're still in the store, but any butterflies that you might have will work great. I'm going to be using these in another section, so I have them set aside there. But I picked out this one light pink with gold, and I think I'm going to put it right about here. So any kind of maybe butterfly that you have, just so it doesn't cover up their faces or anything. I want to make sure it is within the envelope though. I don't want it sticking out a whole bunch. Let me reposition maybe. Maybe this one's too big. Do I have a smaller one? Yeah. Let me grab a smaller one here. Put these guys back so I'll have them when I'm ready to work on that page. So I'll grab a smaller one and I'm going to just stick it right there. Yeah, that works better. What's great about these are there's stickers on the back, and then they have this acrylic that lifts up. So if you have just paper butterflies, just glue in the center, and then you can fold your wings up a little bit to do that, to get that look like that. So I think that's kind of pretty, and I'm going to take another look and see what else I've got. Okay, so I glued in one of the little stamps from my ephemera sheet that I cut out there. I'm still pressing down on my button to make sure it glues on good. I'm going to add a little more glue right there. Okay, so I did that. Added some more tape right there to secure that corner from this back side. But I decided I cut a piece of the parchment paper. I fixed the picture in permanently. I decided I'm not going to switch it out. And I want to use this for like letters and stuff or bigger pictures. So I put a divider in between. So I cut a piece that is 8 1/8 of the parchment paper, a little less than 4 inches, and slid that in there so that now this pocket is closed off on the inside. And I glued this down. I'm going to put something here, washi tape or something, to hide that little seam there. But here on the front, like I said, I did glue that on, that stamp. And I tucked this big butterfly. I'm going to use it as a tuck in with this document here. I'm going to just tuck it in like that, let it peek out like that. I think that looks really cool like that with the roses and everything. And then I want to jazz it up a little more. So I have some flat back pearls, and I'm going to put one on each corner. So like one here and one here. Let me grab my scissors that I like to use to attach those down. I use scissors instead of tweezers. Just pull them off and then attach it, place it down on the glue. I use glue, even though there's adhesive on the back of these. I just think glue makes it more secure. Sometimes that adhesive dries out. So just touch that one there. Oops, stuck to my finger. Okay, run one on each corner. Put one down, one on each corner down here on the bottom. And then while these are drying, I'm going to go look for ribbon or washi tape that I want to add on the inside. Okay, there we go. That one kind of Got the glue everywhere, so clean up. Luckily the art glitter glue dries clear, so we have a little pearl in each corner there. I think that kind of decorates it up some. So yeah, I'm going to let those dry, and then I will come back and show you what I'm going to put on the inside here. And okay, so I don't use a lot of washi tape. This is my washi tape collection. I don't keep a lot. I keep some for just when I might need it, and it's usually neutral or something. So here's one I picked out to put right along here. Hopefully it's going to be wide enough. Let's see. It's kind of a neutral, kind of a vintage advertising. Now washi tape is sticky, but it won't hold. Or at least I have never been able to get it to hold. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue to run a line along each side here that I want attached to, and then the other side as well. Hopefully this will secure it enough to cover that seam I don't like. So I'm going to turn this. Whoops. I guess y'all need to see that. Okay, there we go. So it doesn't really matter which direction, upside down or what have you. I'm just going to kind of stick it in here and get it started and get it as straight as I can. There we go. And I'm just going to cover all that up and press this down. And if I have to come back, you know, with some more glue in some places underneath it, I will, but I think I put quite a bit on there. And I'm just going to snip that off at the end. Whoops. I'm going to have to stop and clean my table for sure. Okay, so that's there. Let's get our bone folder. Like that. So I think that looks really good, and I'm just going to burnish the fold and let that glue catch, and that kind of finishes off in there. And now we have this pocket. Like I said, I'm going to put some letters, things like that, you know, bigger stuff. Like, I don't know if this, I think it's big enough for this, but I'll have to look and see what I've got. So that deed of trust would have been cool in there. It's a little long. I could cut it a little. How much? A little bit on each end. Wouldn't be a big deal. You know what? I think I'm going to do that. So I'll be right back. Okay, so that worked perfectly. I went to my guillotine. I cut 1/4 inch off of each end above the red line, the decorative line. So nothing got cut away. This is an authentic deed of trust from Tarrant, Fort Worth, Texas, for a parcel of land for a A.A. Bridges. It's kind of hard to read. Bridgess. It's no one I know. I found this is some estate stuff. So yeah, I think it's vintage. It's cool looking, and I think it will fit now perfectly in that pocket. So you can still put some small stuff in there. This for now I'm going to leave plain. I may add pictures later, and I'm probably going to put some kind of paper on this. But I wanted to do one other thing I wanted to go over with you. This makes this page pretty heavy, and it makes this one kind of bow. Look, see how that right there? And I'm thinking of adding extra paper to strengthen that. And I'm debating about gluing a piece of parchment paper in there as well, which I think I will. I'm going to cut that. So I cut this to the 5.5, and of course it's 8.5. So that should fit right in there and glue down. So I'm going to cut a piece of the parchment cardstock and put that on there because I want to strengthen this page because I really love this pocket flap. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so I cut the parchment to the 8.5 by 5.5. Now I could just put that in there, but I think I want this also. And I'm just debating, do I want to just leave it the actual size or trim it down to I'm going to trim it down just a little bit, just for a different look. Let's see here. This side over here. And from the top and bottom. Okay. Whoops, that one cut crooked. Okay, so that's going to make this outlined in parchment like this. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on first. It's just changing up the look of it a little bit. Move it up. Okay, burnish that down. Okay, now this is going to glue straight down onto this page to give it some extra strength so it doesn't bow out. So that's the great thing about junk journals. You can just glue in whatever you need to glue in. You want to glue in some extra flaps, you can, extra pages, some extra pockets, extra fold outs. Okay, line this up. It should be even with the bottom here and the edge. Okay, burnish that in. Okay, we got that. Looks good. Whoops, make sure it burnishes right here. You want to stick it down. I thought, oh, that's a flap, but no. We want it to stick down. Okay, so now it's stuck down. Make sure it sticks here over where that pocket was. Okay, so yeah, see now it's not going to bow. That gives it that extra strength that it needed. Okay, so now I just need to decide what I want to do back here. I don't want to cover up the whole thing, so let's see what I've got already cut or can cut. So I've got this. Got that bow in there, like maybe two different pieces I could do. I'm going to cut one that is 3 by 3.5. Just by 3.5. So that can go right there. And we can make that a pocket if we want, or a tuck spot. So I'm going to ink a little bit around the edges. I'm going to notch it. I'm going to put that right there. So just glue on 3 sides. This is going to be a flat pocket. A couple of tags or something, like right there. And then do I want to just put a picture up here? Okay, let me decide what I want to put up there at the top. Okay, so I'm going to make a tuck spot with pictures. So these are some copies that I've printed up on copy paper and then glued to some of the parchment paper. So it's got a square. I'm going to do that one there. Okay, like that. And then I've got this one that I'm just going to tuck in at the top. Like that. Okay, so there's that. Of course, I need a tag. I wanted some little bit of lace, little dainty lace. Let's see what I got here. These are little like daisies. Right there. And I use art glitter glue for my laces. I'm just going to put that on there like that. Across the top. I'm going to have to let that dry. And of course, like I said, this baby picture will go right there. Tuck in. And that one should glue down better than there. There we go. Now then I'll need a tag in here. I'm cutting one out right now. See, I'm just checking the length right now. Okay, I'm going to cut the top of it. I'm going to ink that. Where's my ink? Grab some more ink on this. Now, if you want these tags to be more sturdy, you would glue them to like some of the cardstock. And I need to punch a hole in this one. So punch the hole, and now I need some twine or something in it. So I've got this green. Let's see if I can thread that in there. Bring them up together and then tie another knot like that, and then just trim them off even on the end. So that can go in there. Got the lace up there. Do I want any kind of lace here? I think I'm going to put some on the bottom too. Got some red on that. Let's put that off. Okay. Cut my lace and the glue. Okay, so that's real simple, real cute. It's got some papers in here. We can put other stuff in there. And then, like I said, I'm going to leave this part blank for now. Okay, so we're going to work on another section.